Welcome to VBIC's Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a quick forecast for the episode called Forecasting Human Intentions to Act with Quantum Precision. The use case for quantum synthetic intelligence is quantum augmented intelligence. Quantum augmented intelligence will foster adaptive processes instead of substituting humans. Nevertheless, quantum augmented intelligence, or QAI, changes the very nature of work, management of operations, management of employees in dramatically different ways. The quantum mechanical algorithms that you will learn in this VBIC Science Channel Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series will all do one thing. They produce certainty in understanding, in simulating and forecasting human behavior, their preferences and needs that no one has ever seen. At the end of the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence event series, we will discuss engineering options. So we will leave the area of basic knowledge transfer and start the mastering area of using all this knowledge. Some engineering options just briefly mentioned here. Quantum-resistant identity theft, critical infrastructure protection, cyber defense, or if we turn to business, reducing operational risk and reducing operational costs. For example, by optimizing the hiring process, or by measuring creativity, organizational creativity, which is an indicator for competitive advantage, interesting for investors and stakeholders. Another practical engineering option is data cleansing. New controls are required to eliminate a flaw that today's big data technology is causing every single day. These new controls are required to eliminate the destruction of superposition. We will learn this in the series, why that is important and what it is at all. So, as a consequence, new data science best practices are required to establish, maintain, and supervise interference, something that today's data science tries to avoid under all circumstances. Welcome to VBSC Mixed Reality TV Science channel. The first events are dedicated to quantum synthetic intelligence. As you know already, if you attended one of the other events, there's nothing artificial when we apply the mathematical framework of quantum mechanics because it's all and entirely based on laws of nature. Quantum augmented cognition, the topic of this event, is focusing on a very easy true statement. So there is nothing artificial, therefore we call it synthetic intelligence. Quantum augmented intelligence is a use case to use all these abilities not to replace humans, but to augment human intelligence. At the core, it still is an ability, a capability of measuring observed behavior interference and forecasting the same simultaneously on simulation circuits, which in turn will result in the ability to forecast human intentions to act. So as you can hear clearly, it's a technique. So what we learn from the science, we will use to engineer the solution. So we will be able to engineer an apparatus. Such capabilities, once put in place, will affect three large areas of our daily life. Number one, it will affect work. Number two, business. And number three, society. Let's stick with the first two. Work and business are affected with the ability to swiftly and well-timed understand. That means forecasting. And then act on these insights to intervene and steer against risk that increase intentions to act of organizational members that are not desired. And again, with quantum mechanical certainty. So the same ability, once scaled by the above conceptual approach, can prevent crime. It can counteract election fraud and, for example, ensure that taxes spent on public policies based on the economic behavior of every individual instead of basing such on theories. Important for information technology here is that quantum cognition is purely a mathematical formalism of quantum theory. In other words, we will go ahead and inspire and formalize models of cognition instead of using models that are based on traditional classical probability theory. So quantum cognition uses the mathematical formalism of quantum theory to formalize models. Models of cognition that aim to be in advance over models based on traditional classical probability theory. So we will focus on exactly this one, modeling the phenomena that have resisted traditional technique or where traditional models seem to have reached a barrier. So it's purely, if you want, computer science. A model has a purpose, precise, and then put it into an engineering context. Thank you so much for watching this and see you soon. Welcome to the BBSC Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a quick preview for the upcoming event in the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series called Quantum Algorithms for Cognition. At the end of this Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series, you will have learned about 26 standard algorithms that you can use to forecast human intentions to act. So this is a science that's out there for a long time. It just has not been recognized and not picked up by information technology or computer science because of simple ignorance. This is your chance to change this, at least for your career. Because there will be a time after big data science has been discovered to be systematically flawed, because it's based on mathematics that is introducing a systematic error. So this section, this event, is to introduce you to a few of these algorithms. Therefore, the title Quantum Algorithms for Cognition, and you will learn one thing after this event. Data appear already in their natural order. Yes, you heard correct. There is a natural order for data. So you don't have to sort them. If data is showing up in your results that is not already in the natural order, you made a mistake. Because again, everything we do with the mathematical framework of quantum mechanics is based on the laws of Mother Nature. So Mother Nature is what you will see. And data have already a natural order, so they must appear in that natural order in your results that you code, that you produce, and declare as a true statement. So, thanks for watching this, and I hope to see you soon. So welcome to BBSC's Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a quick preview for an upcoming event in the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series called Unitary Transformation Entangling Beliefs and Preferences. So what does that mean? You will learn a technique, a standard technique where you can transform categories, that means variables, into entangled correlations. So the unitary transformation entangling beliefs and preferences is just the follow-up scenario that you have learned in the events before. We will start to develop a technique which will become a standard technique for you to reuse on a continuum basis. But in the terminology of quantum mechanics, just expressing the same that I just did in plain English, you will develop an initial action that means a superposition, and these superposition are amplitudes. So two amplitudes you produce as an initial action, you place them in a superposition, and we do this on a standard data model that we are all used, that we work in IT for many years, or for those who used to work in IT for many years. We will use categories, a standard item that we all know as soon as we plan a data environment. The classical probability, which is based on the Markov model, does apply weighted averages. Weighted averages are by design unprecise. And you will learn the technique to produce and calculate amplitudes, many of these amplitudes, to place these in superpositions, and to do this for one reason: to get a precise value of two states of two categories. Once you learn this technology, you can apply it again for any kind of categorization state, and even for more than two categories. So this is a basis for other events. It's important that you attend. Thank you for watching this. Welcome to VBSC Mixed Reality TV Science Channel. This is a quick forecast for one of the upcoming events that you hopefully attend, called Quantum Decision Sciences. While we evolve your knowledge and skill sets to finally being able to build a model by using the mathematical framework of quantum mechanics that makes sense and could become an engineering solution, this one is to give you an understanding what happened in the last 25 to 30 years in the quantum decision sciences space. Yes, you heard correct. This is not a new area. This is an area that had been used by researchers for a long time already. So what you as a potential information technologist or computer scientist, developer, programmer, manager for data, or responsible for data modeling, data mass, and all that stuff, you will hear one very important fact. Classical statistic and everything you do in information technology today and in big data and in data science today is based on a flaw. We will discuss and explain the violation of the law of total probability. And we will not only discuss this, we will find a way to fix it. And it will not be a surprise that the way to fix it is built in the mathematical model of quantum mechanics. This will result again in a very practical engineering option. Give one example. It is known that cognitive dissonance exists, which is another explanation or an example how to explain the violations of the law of total probability. In other words, classical statistics is based on Markov. Mathematics always assumes that there is only one trajectory. From the left to the right, from top to bottom, and there's one step that is before the other step. This principal flaw is replaced by considering, by design, an unlimited number of parallel and other trajectories. The number is, by design, unlimited. Now it's obvious that this kind of technology, where you consider by default and by design the principal unlimited number of trajectories, where the one trajectory is more efficient. So it doesn't need a mathematical brain to agree to this. So be assured that we will have again an engineering option in this event we discuss, which is very simple, defined as if you want to consider influences that evolve over time, or as we say in the quantum mechanics, across time, then we have an explanation why cognitive dissonance exists and what it is, and how do we handle this if we start to measure this. In the language that we use in our events, for those that have attended so far, we can express the same in another word. Interference depends on a parameter. This parameter is part of the Hamiltonian quantum model. If this value is set to 0, interference disappears. If it is positive, it rotates. So we can use it as a technique not to watch the laws of nature, to watch processes, but to rather change them. So we can produce beliefs that were consistent with preferences. So we start a process that we will finish later in this synthetic intelligence series, not only measuring and not only watching, but creating entanglement. There's one fact that you should consider. Because everything we do is based on the laws of nature, and even the quantum computer is built on natural things, either on gas or aluminum plates. What you create as an entanglement is a creation in nature. It's nothing that when you switch off your computer today, it's just an algorithmic code in a program. No, you programmed Mother Nature. And what you have built did exist. It's not an illusion. It's not a simulation. You build it into an aluminum plate that was as an almost coldest point of things that we find in the universe, so it's real. That's a big difference. So we will learn this basic technology, we will understand, and from now on argument mathematically and logically, while the techniques that we apply today in big data, in today's data science, is systematically flawed and disadvantages. Instead of having one trajectory and follow this path, you have 50 or 100, or I mention this number now intentionally, 125 quadrillion trajectories that you follow. Now you make your choice which one is likely to be more efficient. Again, We will talk about the failure of the law of total probability. We will explain it and we will cure it. And from this point on, you will start to be a believer. Promise. Thank you for watching this. Another area is simply data science. New controls are required to eliminate the destruction of superposition, something the conventional data science and big data practice is doing every time when they apply their conventional, outdated methodologies. As a consequence, entirely new data science best practices are required for everyday operations, like establishing, maintaining, and supervising interference, something conventional data science is avoiding at all costs. We will do the opposite we are looking for. As a consequence, the customer will receive a bias-free data transfer between cloud and quantum computer. Because without these new controls, there is no bias-free data transfer between the conventional cloud we have today and quantum computer, which is another event that we'll discuss the cooperation between both. So far so good for this event. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching this. Welcome to the BBIC Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a forecast for an event that you hopefully will attend. The event is called Measuring Entanglement Without Probability. So what does that mean? So first it does mean that we will focus on another specific modeling techniques mathematically that we then poured at the end into engineering options. In a nutshell, just to give you a quick overview, you will learn to use some arbitrary state and learn the techniques to represent that state in a quantum computer as a quantum mathematical density matrix. So by doing this, you will replace today's techniques to put things in a database or in a data mart to handle them classically. Your job in the new world is to build a state tomography and then to verify that state to be correct. And you do this by doing the opposite. You reconstruct the density matrix later by applying phase shifts. These phase shifts you will thought practically by coding a quantum computer, and these techniques have to become your normal habit, your way of start thinking as soon as you look to data. You're just replacing today's classical way how to look at data, to put them in rectangular form and squeeze them into huge repositories, which is not necessary to find a truth statement. So you will learn these step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so on. Techniques that after you claim having done a good job, everyone can repeat to confirm, that means to verify or falsify. So it's a really hands-on technique that should get in your blood naturally, which will, it's not complicated. But because this is the science channel and not an engineering channel, we will dive deep what's really happening, what's going on. The principle that you will apply for engineering purposes is essentially where Einstein's relativity theory finally got falsified. If you can produce a state that does represent a real state, a structure, a data structure you found in nature, you can entangle those. By doing this, you receive a very, very huge, big, decisive advantage towards all the classical statistical procedures that data science told you is okay. You receive a number. The value is 0.875. 0.875 is the certainty that does replace probability. If you try to find observables that are not visible, in other words, we assume everything we do, there are superpositions that exist. Based on this, we very likely can't see them, but we can prove they exist. One way to prove this was to put two entangled items in a distance where light needed more time to cross, to port information from the first item to the second item. Because the changes in item 1 was instantly reacted on item 2, and light wasn't fast enough to travel from item 1 to item 2, the proof was what you will apply today in engineering: entanglement. And by using this entanglement, and you prove a 0.875 correlation, this correlation is valid and no longer bound on Einstein's relativity assumption that light is everything and the speed of light. It is not. So this short introduction, I will keep it short. It's called Bell's inequality, which later has been proven again, and more precisely, this is the basis why you should learn what we just discussed. A technique how to build on this that is commonly agreed on and has never been falsified, to build structures of data that work across time. Thank you for watching this. Looking forward to meeting you. So welcome to BBSC Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a quick forecast to an upcoming event in the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series. This event is called Create Quantum Entanglement. So what does that mean? In the event so far, we established basic knowledge, we established basic skill sets and basic techniques, which leads to engineering disciplines. But now we come to a very special area. Instead of finding entanglement and instead of showing that your data structures that you found, again, which are pre-ordered in nature, so which everyone can falsify or verify what you did, so talking is over very quickly. If you reach 0.875 in your findings, someone else will do the same. So discussion over, moving forward. This is the beauty of this. But now we talk about something different. Create quantum entanglement. The motivation for this event is very simple. So far we have seen how we can observe entanglement and evidence entanglement and give this to others so they can verify or falsify our findings. So everyone is moving forward quickly, which is good. Is to talk more in detail about the properties and the possible application or applications of this knowledge and the technique that you learned. One is to compare this with the classical data environment where you have typed structures. A pure type in the mathematical framework of quantum mechanics becomes an entanglement monotone. So it becomes an ideal structure. We can go so far that everything that appears mixed just does consist of pure types. We just haven't discovered them, we haven't collected them, which is work ahead of us and can be accomplished after some time. So in other words, you will learn techniques to build typed structures in the mathematical framework of quantum mechanics, and of course we will code this also and look at code who can do this for us and what the technique is, step 1, step 2, step 3. But don't miss this event. Thank you for watching this. Welcome to the BBAC Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a forecast to an upcoming event in the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series. This event is called and dedicated to engineering objects. So we simply will use what we learned so far and focus on an engineering problem and try to discuss and build it. This one is dedicated to forecasting an entire population, here the population of the United States, intentions to act in no time. You know from the other events that you attended what that means in no time. And you know that time is not even a variable in our modeling. It doesn't exist. Therefore, scale limitations do not exist. So we will discuss the parameters, we will build the model and discuss this in very detail. Again, this is discussing an engineering option to place 2,500 variables over every individual living in the United States today. Again, 2,500 variables focused on every individual living today in the United States. It will take 5 seconds for an initial forecasting of their intentions to act. Continuous changes after that will be done in no time. Again, if you attended the events before, you know what that means and why that statement is true. You cannot do this with today's big data or data science methodologies. It's impossible. We will discuss that this is very real, based on mathematical proof, and we will discuss the engineering options, how to build that system. I strongly believe there are no limits to this. Thank you for watching this. Welcome to the BBAC Science channel. This is a forecast to an upcoming event in the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series. This event is called Contextualize the Behavioral Management Issue as Quantum Mechanical Variable. Again, it's an engineering option discussion. So what does that mean essentially? As soon as you can forecast the human's intention to act, you can not only do this for one human, you can do it for more than one. So by scaling up, it is building structures that we learned in the events that you hopefully attended before this one. So by applying these techniques that you learned, you can build a context of the base techniques. So you apply them in a context that makes sense. because it's still dealing with variables, in this event quantum mechanical variables. We just give it another purpose. In other words, this is a quantum cognitive science experiment that will incorporate collective scientific evidence. So we will pull in, out of the 26 algorithms, quantum algorithms that we have seen in the events that you have attended before. We will put together a couple of those so they make sense for us. So we will build a collective scientific evidence incorporation into a context that is very, very practical. As we discussed earlier in one of the beginning events, the quantum augmented cognition, as soon as we apply it broadly, for example, in an organizational context, result in apparatuses, which is a technical and engineering part we will discuss, that will have severe consequences. The capability of measuring observed behavior interference and forecasting the same simultaneously on simulation circuits result in the ability to forecast human intentions to act. So what does that mean in the context here? So for work and business, by forecasting intentions to act not only for one, but for more than one, the number is simply unlimited. Management can affect by swift and well-timed understanding. If they decide, they can intervene or steer against the risks that they understood were happening by increasing the intentions of humans to act. So if organization members tend to act in a way that's not desired by management, here's an opportunity to prevent this undesired intention to act to further grow by intervening, but again by first understanding. That's a very important opportunity that currently is not even considered in today's management environment. They are all surprised. We see the monetary value of what we discuss. So don't miss that event. Again, this is an engineering option discussion, and we will just use and apply what you learned in the other events that you hopefully attend. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to the VDSC Mixed Reality TV Science channel. This is a forecast for an upcoming event in the Quantum Synthetic Intelligence series. This event is called Engineering Option Post-Quantum Data Privacy. So what does that mean? We will discuss and we will demonstrate the quantum advantage in machine learning over the classical counterpart, and we will discuss this in two ways and evidence the advantage this way. First is we will experimentally realize this quantum advantage. Second, we will see that the classical counterpart has performance gaps. So it cannot keep up with the quantum learning. We will discuss and evidence the quantum advantage on one practical example: post-quantum data privacy. Quantum learning is more efficient than the classical counterpart. Also, there's a big performance gap in the classical counterpart as soon as we scale up, and this performance gap increases as soon as a problem becomes more difficult. The difficulty increases by two factors: either by increasing the oracle size, so the nature of the issue is getting more complex, or simply by adding noise. That means classical counterpart machine learning is very busy dealing with the noise, which the quantum learning can identify very quick. We will also discuss at what time quantum learning is achieving a significant decisive advantage. So don't miss this opportunity to learn about the post-quantum data privacy that's coming soon for us, very soon, and will be introduced in classical cloud computing. So you will learn a step-by-step approach following a diagram. This step-by-step approach to build up the quantum learning advantage over their classical counterpart will be repeatable. It will be possible for you to evidence at your place of work or where you have a meeting with stakeholders, making them understand that it's time to leave the big data and classical data science, because if they don't, the competitor will. So by doing this, we will go through a step-by-step approach, how to initialize these structures, how to build an oracle function, what the classical machine learning counterpart will do or what he could contribute, and then we come to a very clear evidence at what time the quantum learning is unrepeatable. Again, these are things that everyone can verify or falsify, so you will be on the winning street telling this at your place of work. See you soon. Don't miss that event.